What's going on, guys? It's your boy Shamar, and today we're starting the day off at Honda. I had to come here to get some Honda Bond. As you guys can probably see at the title above my head, I'm doing the hybrid racing Selector springs. So without further ado, enough talking, and let's go buy some Honda Bond. Can we just appreciate this for a moment? Oh, take this. We just secured the package. Honda Bond. So let's get back to the house and let's put this Honda Bond to use by putting these springs in. Now that we got back home, we're gonna go ahead by taking out this battery, taking out the intake, and then taking out these cotter pins. I might go ahead and either take out the bolts or just go ahead and slide off these little pins that you see there. These little sliding pins that keep the cables on tight. And then this is what we're actually going to be removing down here, which is a shifter selector, and that's where the springs are going to be. Now that I'm at this point, I went ahead and took out the battery, took out the intake. I just went ahead and took off the cotter pins and stuck everything to the side. I'm just going to unclip this clip in the back here. You just push down on the tab, push out, and then there's some bolts here that you have to take out, and the outlet head in the front, and this piece should come up pretty easy. But before that, I might just go ahead and clean around it a little bit with some brake cleaner and stuff like that, just to get off any dirt before I open up this piece of the transmission. So now that we got this out, you just go ahead and remove the screw, and there is the spring right here that's exposed, and there's a smaller spring inside there. You just go ahead and remove the screw, slide off all the stuff, replace it with the new springs, and put it right back in. Make sure you orientate everything the way it came out, that way you have no problem with everything going back in. And there's just going to be a little bit of Honda Bond there, like you can see on the inside. Just gonna go ahead and clean that up, and then I'll apply some new Honda Bond and go from there. I got these hybrid racing ones. So what you're gonna do, because I'm sitting down now, you're just gonna go ahead and slip this one carefully off. Carefully like that. We're just gonna take the OEM springs out. And here are the OEM springs. You're gonna help me with this? I don't want to let this go. There's springs and washers and shit in here, and it's already almost getting freaking loose. So do you want to put the small one on first? The small one, slide the small one on first.
On where here?
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna put the big one on. So now that you have the new spring in there and it's seated properly, just go ahead and line up that hole, and we're just gonna go ahead and thread this nut back in like so. And it is spring loaded, so you gotta make sure you have a little bit of tension on it when you're going to screw this in. And when you're screwing it in, always screw it in by hand. Just make sure the spring is seated flush before you go ahead and tighten everything back down. The spec to this is 29 pound-feet of torque. I just went ahead and threw on some Honda Bond. I might get roasted in the comments, but I threw a little bit on there, and I threw some on here after retightening the bolt. As I said, always check over all the stuff before you go ahead and advance to the final product. Here's actually a quick shot of the OEM springs, and you can see how much shock or absorption they have compared to the new ones. They look a little bit more heavy duty, so we're just gonna let that go ahead and dry for a minute, and then I'll show you guys a little bit of the reinstalling process of that. And then yeah, I'll probably get back to you guys on a review video on how it feels, the difference between just the hybrid racing shifter and the hybrid racing detent springs versus, I guess, now the hybrid racing shifter, the detent springs, and the selector springs. So I'll get back to you guys very shortly. So after I went and reinstalled everything, I just went ahead and torqued all back down my bolts. I'm just gonna put the cotter pins back in. I did plug in the sensor back there. Everything's looking good and smooth. Pretty much done on the home stretch. Just gotta put back in the battery, the intake, and I'm gonna let it sit for 24 hours. That's what the Honda bond calls for. And yeah, pretty much get back to you guys, as I said, with the review, or even when I put all this back together, and I'll go in the car and show you guys even the shifter feeling and get my honest opinion on it.